Stinking Rankin.
All right, let's take Janice off the agenda for right now and move on to open this Board of Supervisors meeting on September 30th, 2021. And we'll call the Planning Commission to order. Mike Word?
Sir.
Since you got a new haircut today, why don't you lead us in a word of prayer to start us out?
Sure. Let's pray, y'all. Good morning, Father. We thank you so much for, Lord, just allowing us to come together. And we obviously don't want to jump into your presence as we always do. We take it for granted that you're with us always. Lord, I just pray that you would just continue to allow us to recognize that we truly are in your presence all the time. And Father, we just thank you for allowing us to, Lord, to be able to be a part of what we call Rankin County government. I just pray that you would continue to bless these men and women that run this county, that they would continue to make great decisions on behalf of our people. Lord, we just ask a special blessing on, Lord, all of our law enforcement and first responders. Lord, a special blessing on the family of the U.S. Marshal. And, Lord, you would just give them a little bit of comfort on the incident that happened the other day. And, Lord, as tragic as it is, Lord, would you just give them comfort? And, Lord, let's just remind them that you are still in charge. Father, we thank you for all that you do. We just ask a special blessing on this meeting and all things that come from it, that it may, Lord, go to benefit your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Great, thanks, Mike. Miss Renee, good morning. Let's start into this Planning Commission meeting. So we'll entertain a motion to adoption and approval of minutes.
So move.
So motion by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Item 2 passes. Item 3 under old business, Miss Renee.
All right, so there are two items of old business, if y'all would like to review either of those. Those hearings are scheduled for Monday.
I'm good on the one on the second. You anything on the one on the first one? It's yours.
We talked about that.
You good?
I'm good, except things we talked about. We got a few conditions. I want to talk to Ms. Slay about possibilities and things. Just in the event something starts happening to the road. I don't mean normal, just a pothole, push out, where it bags in, something starts deteriorating.
Yes, sir.
And we talked about maybe some
Item 2.
few conditions, some conditions, and Keith and I and Renee went over it yesterday on the phone, so I think we're good.
I'll have those on Monday.
Yeah, and the only thing we didn't really talk about, we're going to talk to you about, was, like I said, in that event, the road just started coming off pieces. Okay, all right. Okay. Other than that, I'm good. I think we got it covered.
Anything else under the old business under items 1 or 2? If nothing else, we'll go to item 4. Under new considerations, Ms. Renee, number 1.
All right, so the first item is a conditional use permit from Marilyn Turnage at 4085 Highway 471. Ms. Turnage is seeking the conditional use permit to replace her existing manufactured home with a 2021 28 by 56 manufactured home. This property is located on the west side of Highway 471. It's a 5.89 acre parcel. It's zoned RE1. That's an aerial view of the property. Ms. Turnage's mother owns this property, and she has a home on the property as well. She's seeking the conditional use permit under the hardship section of the RE1 zoning, and she does have a letter stating that her mother and father need some assistance. These are views of that property. This is the home that will be replaced. This is her mother's home. And then that's a shed and an old manufactured home that's on the property. These are surrounding properties. And Ms. Turnage is here today if y'all have any questions for her.
So basically what we're doing, we're just taking the older one that's out and allowing her to put a new one that's there.
Right, it'll be a brand new double wide.
Okay. I'm good. If anybody else has
Make
any
a
questions. So motion by Mr. Gaines to set the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Thanks, Mr. Calhoun, for voting. All right, item number 2. Thank you.
Item number 2 is a rezoning request by Scott May on Highway 43 North. Mr. May is seeking to rezone 34.42 acres from A1 to RE1. He's proposing development of a subdivision called Grace Estates. That's an aerial view of that property. And this is their preliminary plat. The subdivision will contain 27 lots. The lots will range in size from 1 acre to 1.8 acres. And he's proposing a minimum heated and cooled square footage of 2,200 square feet. These are views of that property.
Good.
And then these are surrounding properties.
This morning, we kind of had a little flaw on our part that we may have told Mr. May
Yeah.
not to attend.
weren't gonna
He
have
wasn't on the
anything
agenda.
on the agenda.
And we got down here and he was on the agenda.
On
So-
your agenda.
So what we're gonna do on that same point, we'll just make a motion to set the public hearing.
All right.
Since
Yeah.
we asked him to come out, and
Yeah.
we'll proceed on that.
I make a
Mike,
motion.
you good with that? Since you ran him off in the lobby, I think.
Second.
All right. All right, so motion by Mr. Morrison to set it, and second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign? Item,
We'll show Mr. Harrison as Mr. May's representative.
There you
and he
go.
spoke for him, yeah, and he spoke for him, right, on the record.
Ain't so bad, we even looked at the agenda too.
Well,
It's just a,
Hey, Scott,
since Mike spoke out of turn, we're
We got
gonna
you
fire
covered.
Mike in a little while, but, we went on and set the public hearing for your one. We're probably gonna do the same way for the next one coming up, but we only set the public hearing for item number 2, so. They didn't look at the planning commission sheet. They looked at the agenda.
we're looking at the main agenda, yeah.
We can blame Harrison fell on the sword for this, so. All right, so item number 3, Ms. Renee?
all right, the next item is a rezoning request by Scott May on Old Lake Road. This property is located on the north side of Old Lake Road. Mr. May is seeking to rezone a 40-acre parcel from A1 to RE1. He's proposing development of a subdivision called Old Lake Estates. That's an aerial view of the property, and that's his preliminary plat. The subdivision will contain 12 lots. The minimum proposed lot size is 2 acres. All of these lots will front on the public road and meet the dimensional requirements of the RE1 zone. There's a 10.78 acre parcel at the back of the property that will be sold to an adjoining property owner. And he's proposing a minimum heated and cooled area of 2,000 square feet. These are views of that property. And these are surrounding properties. And he's here if you have any questions.
Thanks for coming.
Old Lake Road.
That's coming off of Star Brandon Road.
Old Lake Road? I'm thinking of Lake Road.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
I was thinking of Lake Road, I'm sorry. Lake Road's coming off Holly Bush, so.
Getting Robin Hood from Star.
Oh, okay, so,
I was thinking of Lake Road off Holly Bush, so you're right.
not in my district.
I make a motion to set the public hearing.
Second.
So motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Morrison to set the public hearing. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. I'm sorry. You got some more discussion? I spoke quick, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah, just one little short. These areas are not in what I really call the farming part of Rankin County, row cropping. And, I know we're growing and people have to have a place to live and build, but in the, real production or agricultural land, I want to keep it. I want to keep the atmosphere similar, as similar as we can to what's out there now, which means larger lots, say 3 acres and up, and maybe a few more feet. But I just don't want to lose the atmosphere that's out there. They don't want to lose it, and the people that want to buy and move out there don't really want to lose it. These areas are more of the resort around the reservoir, so I I don't have a problem, but just for whoever may be watching or listening and think, well, I'm gonna go get 25 acres and build 25 houses and, you know, it may not happen like that.
Good? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item number 3 is set for a public hearing. That wraps up the new considerations, Ms. Renee?
It
All right.
does.
So nothing on the site plan architectural review.
We don't
We'll move
have-
into item number 6 under nuisance properties. Mr. Slay? Good morning.
Morning, guys. First item under the nuisance considerations is Everardo Ramon Mosquedo nuisance property at 177 Tammy Avenue. This is a District 1 parcel. I will open that public hearing, and I would request that we check to see if Mr. Mosqueda, whomever is going to speak on that matter will need to be ready to come forward to address the board. Renee's going to demonstrate with the photos.
Okay, so just a correction, we have that wrong on the agenda. The address for this property is 164. I think he owns 2 properties in
Okay.
that subdivision. This is in Triangle Acres. We received a complaint July 22nd about the condition of the property, rubbish and debris, grass, and inoperable vehicles. These pictures were taken on July 22nd. The owner did receive both of our certified letter mail. And
Come on up here.
these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Yeah.
Wait, that's yesterday?
These are yesterday.
Yeah, hey, if you would, just step up to the mic there. You can take down your mask if you want to, or you can leave it
We
on.
can hear
But
you.
you just introduce yourself to the board, tell us your address and who you are.
I'm living in I have around Mosquera living in 177 Tammy Avenue, Florence.
All right.
I got this property, but the guy living in there, my cousin, they do some, have work, and they got all this equipment, but I tell them they need to clean it up, because I got the first letter, but I think they clean a little bit, but I think they don't clean enough.
Yeah, so basically, just so I understand you right, your cousin was living in there, is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Mhm.
And you asked him to clean it up after you got the letter, and you're in the
Yeah.
process of cleaning that up,
Yeah,
right?
they clean a little bit, but there's no enough clean.
So they did a little bit, and they're still in the process of cleaning, is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but in a couple of days, I'm telling any more stuff.
Get it all out.
I think the simplest thing, just, sounds like you're moving forward, but just declare it and let it move on, get it done.
Yep,
Yeah,
that would be the
so-
way to handle it.
So what Mr. Morrison's deal is, that he's gonna declare it a nuisance, right, but allow you to continue to clean up the property, and as long as it's continued up and to the satisfaction of our office,
Right.
then it'll be a dropped issue and go from there.
Right.
So as long as you continue to clean it and be in touch with our development office, you should be good. So you
Yeah,
want to
because
do-
see what you don't, because the property's in your name,
Yeah.
no matter who's living there, unfortunately, it comes back to you. So you gotta really twist the screw on them, make them get it cleaned up
Okay,
to keep you out of trouble,
okay.
okay?
All right.
And
sounds good.
if you would, also maybe just leave your contact information with Dwayne over there, or
Okay.
one of them, just to be sure they can get in touch with you. So once you get it cleaned up, you can call them back out to come
Okay.
look at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, sounds good,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All
Hey,
right,
wait,
so-
hey, you wanna get it, yeah.
Jerry,
So,
if you will, let's get a motion to go ahead and declare it a nuisance. We'll do our
I'll make that,
standard
yeah.
30-day delay on the referral. And that way we won't have to revisit this.
That's your motion?
Second.
So a motion by Mr. Morrison, we close the public hearing, and a motion by Mr. Morrison to declare it a public nuisance for the 30-day delay. Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign. So item 1 is cleared. I was waiting on you to read this number 2, Mr. Slay.
I'm not sure exactly what's happened today. The only thing I think that I've understood absolutely clearly so far this morning
Was
is
Janice.
Miss Janice's
That's right.
instructions
Yeah, that's right.
to me. I understood those very
Yeah,
clearly.
clearly.
Item 2 is Fong Pham and An T Tran.
Train.
Nuisance property
About that.
at 3657 Highway 18. This will be a District 3 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. I would request that, I'm not sure, this appears to me to be Vietnamese. I'm not sure if they do the backwards thing, so it's either Mr. Fong or Mr. Pham, or Miss Ann or Miss Tran.
128, oh,
They
yes,
can
I
come
do.
forward.
They can
Renee, if
come.
you'll demonstrate with
Well,
photos,
wait,
please.
we'll get to them in a minute.
All right, so these pictures were taken on June the 15th in regard to the condition of the property. Tall grass, debris.
Are they here?
No.
These are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Those are the current pictures right there.
These are.
Not much progress there.
That's like,
You say progress?
that's like,
Not much progress.
roof houses back in
It's
back.
codified.
I'll make a motion.
I'll put
Send it up. Just-
I make a motion to send it to justice court.
Okay.
All right, so
Steve, would you
public-
second that?
Yeah, so,
We have a motion, a second, Mr. President.
yeah, so the public hearing's closed.
I think this is not the first time on this property.
It's not.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
So motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item number 2 passes. Item number 3.
Item 3 is the Doris Roberts nuisance property. This will be at 100 Langford Drive, it's a District 4 parcel. I'll ask that Ms. Roberts or someone on her behalf be prepared to come forward. Renee's going to demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so we received a complaint about rubbish and debris in an operable vehicle in July of this year. These pictures were taken July 23rd.
It's fine if Ms. Roberts wants to stay right there, she's fine.
All right, and these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday. I think the property has been cleaned up. The car has an old tag on it, but she's gonna get that
Looks good.
new tag on it. It does run.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, good
Would you
morning.
just introduce yourself to the board with your name and address?
I'm Doris Roberts, 100 Langford Farms Drive.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Right.
Roberts. Steve, do you have anything?
Thank you for doing what you've done.
Looks good.
That's all I can say.
This is my neighbor,
All right.
Gloria Peterson, and her husband and grandbabies. They did it Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you very
Great
much.
job.
That's great, thank you.
Great job. Can we hire you out for some others?
I am very expensive.
And very busy volunteer for other stuff, too.
Well, we thank you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
we really do.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
You're welcome.
All right, so,
Thank you so much.
Mr.
There
Slagle,
there is a couple of more on that road that you may be able to get a job at doing.
all right,
Said, I'm very.
Yeah.
thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bless
All
y'all,
right,
too.
so, Mr. Slade, you need a motion to dismiss that, or?
We'll just close the public hearing and the minutes will reflect that no action was necessary.
All right, so item number 4.
Item 4, we'll open that public hearing. This is Ouija Anderson nuisance property at 138 Bridlewood Drive. It's a District 2 parcel. That hearing's open. I'll ask Ms. Renee to demonstrate with the photos. Anyone who is here on behalf of Ms. Anderson or Ms. Anderson's estate, I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, should be prepared to come forward.
All right, so these pictures were taken on the 17th of June. We had gotten a complaint about the home being vacant. There was a swimming pool there that wasn't being maintained. I think issues with the fence, grass, and there was a dead tree and rubbish and debris. These, like I said, pictures were taken on the 17th of June. And this is in Bridlewood subdivision.
Pretty good, man.
These are the new pictures that were taken on the 29th of September.
I wish some of my property looked like it.
Is everyone here on behalf of that matter?
Good morning. My name is Michael Lindsay. I'm an attorney. I represent Champion Mortgage Company that owns a mortgage on this property. It's my understanding that the owner, Ms. Anderson, passed away, I think, this summer. My client's inspections have indicated that the property is still occupied. I'm guessing it may be one of the children still live there, because I think someone that purported to be her daughter reached out to my client to see what she could do to pay off this reverse mortgage that was done. Don't know if that's gonna happen, but, obviously, I think our relationship in this matter is a little bit premature, but I will tell you that, my company just, referred this property to me to foreclosure. So probably in about the next 60 to 90 days, Champion Mortgage Company will own this, and at that point, they'll be able to, take whatever action is necessary. But right now, because it indicates that it's still occupied, we can't do anything about it, but
Well,
that's all I can offer to you right now.
Mr. Slade, can't we go ahead and declare the nuisance, forward up to justice court, and then, at that point, from there, I think it's maybe just the rundown nature of everything in the neighborhood that's causing the problem, so.
Let me walk you through it, if I may.
Sure.
Ms. Lindsay. Excuse me. Mr. Lindsay's correct in that at the point that we are now, that just the presence of the mortgage, of the deed of trust, does not indicate actual ownership. It's a lien, as it were. Eventually, it's a possessory right, but only after it's been foreclosed. So his clients are barred from pretending as if, just by virtue of the mortgage interest, they have a right to restrict access to the property or totally occupy the property in the name of the mortgage company. They have to be careful about that kind of thing. And so a declaration of a nuisance at this point, when we know or we feel reasonably certain that the title owner is deceased, becomes problematic, because the court above justice court's not going to be able to get personal jurisdiction on somebody until we know who is occupying it and what interest, if any, do they claim. Typically, under Mississippi law, when an individual that owns property dies, the title of that property immediately vests in their heirs at law. And so presumptively, assuming this lady has heirs at law that can be identified, they would have at least a legal right under title, and that would provide for jurisdiction for the justice court at that point.
So it'd be probably more of a right answer to table this.
Yeah, exactly. My thought would be this. If you're going to declare it a nuisance, I would propose that you ask the Community Development Office to not take action to refer it up for at least 90 days. This would give the mortgage company an opportunity to proceed with its foreclosure. And I think at some point, they're going to be in a position to where they can use their third-party services to come in and render the property in a condition that would be satisfactory to us.
Okay.
If I said anything.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Certainly, once my client has possession and ownership of the property, it's going to be in their best interest to get it in a position to market it. So obviously, I think anything that needs to be done is going to be done at that time.
All right, so that'll be,
I'd say declare it and wait 90 days.
all right, so, yeah, so that'll be my motion, to declare a nuisance, to hold it for 90 days in the development office, and we'll go from there. So, all right. Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign. And that public hearing is closed. So item number 5.
Item number 5 is, we believe, another decedent situation, Daniel. Mr. Beckham, we believe, is deceased. The title of the property at 128 Cypress Lane is still in his name. We're not exactly sure what's going on with possession of the property at this point. So that hearing's open. I will ask that anyone on behalf of the Beckham estate or anyone claiming an interest in 128 Cypress Lane be prepared to come forward. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so, we were actually called by, EOC, because they had responded to a call here in the sheriff's office as well. These pictures were taken on September 10th, showing the condition of the property. There's sewage running out on the ground, inoperable vehicles, tall grass, rubbish. These are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
And
It's still there.
This is the interior.
Oh, it's been somebody lived in it.
They were living in it at the time. She may
Oh.
still be living there, I'm not sure.
Oh,
And the
Don't
roof is
have-
falling in.
The porch is falling
If you
in.
would, ma'am, just introduce yourself to the board so we'll know who we're
I
talking to.
am Jane Beckham.
Okay,
I'm Michael's wife.
okay. And your address, Ms. Beckham? Okay, take your time. Is it 128 Cypress Lane? Okay,
okay.
I understand. It's okay, take your time. I tell you what, I'll just ask some questions for you, that way you can just kind of catch your breath for a second. So the property here, the status of getting it cleaned up and kind of put back into a better order, what's your thoughts on that?
I am working on it,
Yes, ma'am?
and I'm fixing to start cleaning it up. And I'm gonna get the roof repaired, the ceiling repaired, and the porch.
How long, and this is a bad question for me to ask you right here, but how long has Mr. Beckham been gone?
The third this month.
Third of this month, okay. So here's what we'll do. What I'd like to do on that, well, I'm sorry, it's not in my area. I was thinking Cypress Lane is in my area. I apologize. That's you.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be quiet. Sorry about that.
You done real well.
No, I mean,
I thought you just want to take that one, run.
no, I was thinking Cypress Ridge, so
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No, let me ask you, how are you kin to James Beckham?
Huh?
James Beckham.
Mr. Morrison was asking, how are you kin to James Beckham?
I'm his daughter-in-law.
Okay. Can they not help?
No,
No?
no, they don't have nothing to do with their son.
Because that's back behind, you go in, it's back behind his
Uh-huh.
house. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know
Yes, sir.
exactly where you are.
And there's, they hadn't had nothing to do with him. I guess, his daddy they put that place back there for him. He was living with his daddy. And they put that place back there for him because when he was diagnosed with his virus, HIV, and when he passed away, he was full blown. And the only reason we was married, he needed a wife. He just wanted a wife, and that's all I was. And his dad didn't do nothing for him. His sisters or nobody.
Well, okay.
Can I just make a motion that we table this
Well,
for
Yeah,
2 or 3
I'm not-
months
I'm not doing anything about it.
and bring her, I mean,
I
let
just
her
wanna try to-
get herself, I mean, this is something that
Yeah, it's
I don't wanna be a part of it.
We're not, Steve.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get some background somewhere, man, what make it happen here.
I mean, are you living in this?
No, I stay at the place. I live in my truck, my vehicle.
Okay. What about the house that's right up across the little small house that's back there too? Somebody who lives in it? Is that some family also?
Robert Kelly owns one of them,
I know Robert one's
little
up front.
two-story house.
The one up front.
and
Did he buy the little two-story in the back too?
yeah.
Oh, he
Got
did?
the little two-story house. He got the trailer beside Michael's mom and dad's in the brick house.
Right.
He's got that, and we live right behind it.
Okay.
In that little
So
trailer.
there's no family there or nobody that would be willing to try to help you clean up?
Mm-mm. No, it's
Okay.
me. I've got some friends. A friend brought me, and he's gonna help me clean it up.
Let me ask you one thing. I'm trying to ask you this without reaching out too far. A lot of this stuff, is it just gonna be picked up and thrown away? If you had a big container or something, throw it in. Is that what you can do with a lot of the stuff that's out there? Just simply throw it?
There's a lot of, as you can see, there's boxes. The boxes is gonna be burned. I got a burn pile.
Well, don't even talk about burning right now.
We're not gonna.
But I'm just saying,
I'm scared.
but most of this is gonna be thrown away.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, I'll talk with you later.
I've got stuff. I got things in the house, and the trailer's got to come out.
Yeah, I know. All right, is there any way this be involved in some kind of health safety thing that?
Yes, sir.
we could-
I think with EOC's involvement and the condition of the house as reported by our folks, the fact that they were allowed to have access to the interior, and you can see that there are clear life, health, safety issues involved there. This could be a situation, should the board wish to do it, to go ahead and declare it a public safety emergency situation. And we could take action at that point, either with a third party or with the county
Help
forces.
do something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well,
It would just
I
take
would
a
like
motion.
I'd like to look into that, and I think the board would be willing to look at something like this. I know the place, I didn't know, I've not been back in there. Obviously, y'all have got a little private drive road goes back there, so, unless you're going there, you don't have any business being there.
Yes, sir.
But,
I think Ms. Beckham has indicated that she's not making this a permanent residence at this moment. And so the issue of life, health, safety is somewhat ameliorated by the fact that she's not living there overnight.
she can't get in there.
Okay? So, at some point, we've got to allow Ms. Beckham to use her own forces, whatever ability she's got, to
Yeah.
render it not a nuisance, okay? We need to give her an opportunity to do that, I think.
Right.
I would
Right.
suggest let's look at it for 30 days.
Yeah.
Ms. Beckham, it's important that you not live in that residence and that
Yes,
you not
sir.
allow somebody else to live in that residence.
No, sir.
Okay, because its current condition is a health hazard,
Hazard.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that whatever efforts can be made to start the process of cleaning up would be in your best interest. I would say that we look at it again in 30 days and ask Renee to give us a report in 30 days. And if the condition of the property is not, and they're gonna need to be able to get access to the inside to see that
Yes,
work
sir.
is being done,
Mhm.
okay? If that report comes back and there's not been any activity, then I think at that point, we start looking at
Okay.
a declaration that's a life, health, safety
Okay.
declaration, okay?
All right, I'm good with everything you said. Basically, I guess, tabling it.
Yes.
Put it point.
Yes,
Let's look
table
at
for
it.
30
yeah.
days, get a report from Renee at the next planning commission.
So,
Yeah, and we
okay.
don't want it inhabited, right?
That's
I mean,
correct.
Yeah.
We
And
need to make that
do
clear.
they have your number? Do you have a phone, way to be contacted?
Yes, sir.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Would you make sure they have it where I can have it?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Beckham. Sorry about that. I thought it was this one too.
Would you give it to her, please?
No, I
Thank you.
Ran through it.
Fine, you were doing
Sorry
just what
about
I've done.
Mr. President,
Yeah, so we'll close that public hearing and entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a
By Mr.
motion
Morrison.
to table this, at least 30 days.
30 days.
At least 30
And
days
get a
to look at it
report.
again, and we'll move on from there, yeah.
very good.
Does it have a second by the board?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So the next meeting, I think that's it on nuisance properties under item 6. Item 7 is basically stating that our next meeting is on the 28th of October. So a motion to adjourn the planning commission by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So we'll roll out of our planning commission meeting and we'll call the order of the Board of Supervisors meetings. We'll start with item 2 under Ms. Warren, under public comments. Ms. Janice, do you know if she's here or not? Or is she in the audience?
She should be.
How to deal with that.
Right down the road from me, it's done on the weekend, I'll get a skid steer tractor.
Well, that's what I asked what she's gonna do with it, because I could do the same thing. I mean, I don't mind putting the bill for a dumpster.
I'll take care of it.
Huh?
I'll look at it.
Yeah, but I say, we get the same thing, John, we got skid steer and I got a grapple and all.
Okay.
Do some of it, yeah.
All right, so Ms. Warren's not here, right, Janice? All
I'm gonna talk, or we'll
She's
see,
not in the
yeah.
hallway, not at call or anything.
right. Item 3, Mr. Sullivan.
She's not here?
I had something to come up,
Oh, yeah.
about hiring a part-time position, and it wasn't in my budget. But things have transpired that I will have enough money in my budget to more than cover this part-time employee. Some of y'all may know her. Her name is Sharon Walker. She worked over at the collector's office for a little over 40 years. She's done a lot of work for the Board of Supervisors office, Chancery Clerk's office, tax collector, and of course, tax assessor. For what she's wanting to come back for, it's to me, a no-brainer and a steal. Y'all gave me the money to get 2 appraisers. I'm not paying them the full salary that we offered. We're gonna have $8,000 to spare there. When me and Lance came to y'all last time about $30,000 getting some software program to make things more effective. Well, the more research we did when we contacted Delta, which
We know exactly what.
Okay, I contacted Delta. They wanted $5,000 just to talk to the company. Not saying they could convert everything. They wanted $5,000 just to talk. As much as we pay Delta as a county, I'm not willing to spend $5,000 for a conversation. So that $30,000 is available at this time because I'm not gonna pay $5,000 to see if we can convert it. So there's gonna be more than enough in my budget to cover this.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So motion by Mr. Bishop to approve, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign? Item passes.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Item number 4, Mr. Slay. Back up on the podium.
Back again. I will have a need for executive, just in
Figured
case.
that.
I forget to mention that.
So item A.
Item A, I'll read that out. It's a public hearing on an assessment of personal property taxes escaping taxation for tax years 2014 through 2021 owed by Gulf South Pipeline at 1020 North Foxhall Road, Flowood. The proposed action would have been the adoption of a board order assessing personal property taxes escaping taxation for those tax years owed by Gulf South Pipeline. I think there may be an exhibit that reflects that assessment. In the interim, after this was placed on the agenda and before today's hearing was gavelled in, we received notice that our friends at Gulf South Pipeline ran into Hinds County Chancery Court and got Chancery Judge Dwayne Thomas to enter a temporary restraining order against this board from making any assessment of personal property taxes against Gulf South. So, leaving aside what I think about the court's action, what I think about the other side's actions, leaving that aside and not getting into further discussion about that, leaving aside what I think about the Hinds County Chancery Court's jurisdiction over this board on a matter of personal property taxes that are assessable by this county, leaving that aside for later discussion, I'm not willing to risk that either you guys or me either end up on the wrong side of a Chancery Court order answering a question as to why we should not be held in contempt of court. So we're not going to act on item A, but I wanted the record to be clear that we were prepared to act on item A. And by the way, notwithstanding the fact that they got a Chancery Court order, the attorneys for Gulf South Pipeline went ahead and sent an objection to your assessment, and it's sitting over there on the table. Since we're not going to act on it, I'm not going to receive any of that information. That has no moment as far as I'm concerned. You're not acting on the assessment at this point, therefore we're not going to receive any documentation associated with that. If they wish at some point, once we get it straightened out with Hinds County, how this is going to work, if they want to come back forward with their documentation, they're welcome to. But I'm not going to receive it today.
All right, so no action taken on item A.
That's correct.
So item B.
Item B is
Mr.
the
Slay.
ratification of and an authorization of the county administrator to execute sub-grant agreement modification. This is your State Department of Health renovation project, the WIC Center over in Pearl. What the State Department of Health did is that after they looked at the contract work and the additional enhancements in that renovation project that were authorized, they went back to the federal government and received a modification of the amount of the grant. They've increased the amount of their grant funding available to accommodate additional costs. This has no effect on us. Our role and responsibility as property owner is simply to be kind of responsible, as it were, for the activities that affect our real property. But the work that we're doing, which will be compensated, is kind of a pass-through. So the work will go on, the renovation will take place, we will account for those costs, and we will be reimbursed by the State Department of Health. And now they have funding available to take care of all the costs. That's all you're doing, is approving the modification of that agreement to allow for additional funding.
All right, the board wishes to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign. So item B passes. Item C, Mr. Slay.
Item C, it's kind of a little bit of a bittersweet deal here. I'm pleased to report that we have reached a presumptive agreement with our selected vendor through our RFP process for solid waste collection and disposal. We've met with Waste Management on a number of occasions, and we've worked through agreement terms that we believe would presumptively be acceptable to the board. I gave you guys an outline late yesterday of some of the more salient terms of the proposed agreement, the ones that are substantive in nature. I reported to you that we worked from the agreement that we've had in place for 6 years. It's the agreement that we are familiar with, the language that we know. We tweaked some language. It's important for you to know that and Keith was instrumental in this, we've tweaked some language that we believe will be helpful to us in terms of our daily collection routine. We wanted to introduce some additional language that would provide a little bit better handle on what we do when we miss collection spots and how we interact with that. That language has been clarified a little bit, and we feel like we've got a little bit better handle on that. So that's one important term. The ones that count here are how much are we going to pay per household or per residence per month. And that number is $16.90 per household per month. $16.90. That's on the collection piece. The disposal piece, we pay by the ton. We average somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 tons per month. That price is $23.50. Under the prior agreement, it was $21.50. So it's a $2 per ton increase under your agreement. Waste Management agreed to a cap on consumer price index increases in the rate. In each agreement that we've had with Waste Management, since I've been here, there is accommodation for CPI increases in the rate. And how that works is this: federal government puts out, Bureau of Labor puts out statistics about what it costs, a bundle of goods, what it costs annually, and it tracks how much more would the same bundle of goods be last year versus this year. And that's rendered as an index figure. It's a percentage. What we've been seeing over the life of our solid waste collection agreement with Waste Management, this goes back to 2015, what we've been seeing is on average anywhere from about a 1.5% to a 2.5% increase in the CPI. We have had in the past a cap on how much of a CPI increase they are allowed to have, regardless of what the actual CPI is. And in this case, the new agreement will allow for a 4% cap, an annual 4%. What that means is if the CPI goes up by 2% in 1 year, they get a CPI rate increase of 2%. If the CPI increase for a given year is 6%, they don't get to go up 6%. They're capped at 4%. So regardless of what the CPI increase is, the maximum amount that the rate can be increased in any given contract year is 4%. So we felt like that was a good backstop. It is different from what we've had in the past, but we're not in the greatest negotiation position, as you can imagine, and they were firm that they needed at least a 4%. If we're going to do a cap, it would have to be 4%. The other issue that I think is important for you to know is that we have labored pretty consistently over the last several years trying on our side to get a handle on house count. House count. That's been an issue for us and we've known about. I'll speculate slightly with you that we know that there are situations around the county where Waste Management is picking up solid waste at a location, and it turns out that that location is a commercial business. We know that that is happening. Okay? That gets counted as a residence pickup, and it should not be, frankly, because we don't have an agreement with Waste Management to pick up solid waste for commercial businesses. Commercial businesses are on their own. They're responsible for their own trash collection. Okay? So it's not really appropriate. Here's the issue though, it's hard for the guys on the truck, honestly, to be able to make a determination, line of sight, is this a business or is this a house? We've got those examples. That's just one example of why house count becomes a critical issue for us, because we need to really be able to track that. We felt like that it was a good faith showing on Waste Management's part to agree that a house count should be conducted and that it needs to be conducted quickly. Once this agreement's in place and we've got it all linked up, they are prepared within the first 90 days after the contract's effective to implement a house count in conjunction with the county. So it'll be a joint house count. We will have access to the data. We'll be able to back check now against our billing and see where we have discrepancies. And whatever it turns out to be that house count is, that is what we will look to implement in this agreement and tie to, right? So, and that's at Waste Management's sole expense, the cost of the house count. They will absorb that cost. Last thing I'll say about the agreement is this. It is subject to being modified by agreement of the parties. And so if later decisions are made by this board that may affect the current solid waste collection and disposal arrangement that we have, we will be revisiting the terms of the agreement in conjunction with Waste Management. I mention that because the board's already at work looking at and exploring possibilities that could impact how we do solid waste collection and disposal in Rankin County. That's on the table. Nothing about this agreement will foreclose us from being able to revisit if things do change dramatically. Okay?
One question I had on the whole waste management issue, this is still picking up twice a week?
Twice a week.
That didn't change?
Didn't change. Okay. Board was clear, not interested in once a week.
I got a question, Craig,
yes,
on the, whose responsibility is it to reach out to these businesses that are setting garbage out on the side of the road on garbage collection day? I mean, is it the county or is it Waste Management?
I would take the position it's both of us. They have the first opportunity to, by line of sight, make a determination, make a call. I would counsel them, you need to report that to us so that we can then correct that behavior, okay? But they need to be a part of that process, Brad. They're the eyes on the ground. So we're going to request from David Holloway and others inside the Waste Management universe to help us police that. Let's don't have commercial garbage being picked up as a residential service. We can't build. We think that the house count's going to help us because I think together our folks and their folks can identify some of these commercial businesses where that's happening and take them off the list for pickup.
It's happening.
Yes, sir.
It is happening. All right,
Yeah. So what I would need, Mr. President, if y'all are prepared to move forward on those terms, is to authorize us to get the final draft of the agreement in place. I want you to, whatever you do today as far as the decision-making needs to be contingent upon myself and Mr. Hicks being satisfied that we have the language like we want it. But that's what I would need, conditioned on the agreement being in place.
I think each one of them needs to be researched or a person-to-person discussion, because I would say there's as many people that have a small business in Rankin County, they live in Rankin County, and they're paying for garbage pickup. But it doesn't come as often as you'd like for it to come. And sometimes it don't come at all for a week or two. Their business may be on Highway 471 or Highway 43, or garbage truck goes by there. So they take their garbage, put it in the back of their truck, and they go to their office and they put it out. And they're paying for garbage pickup at home. It's not getting picked up at home routinely. And I mean, and I know that. I know that happens.
Yes.
So I don't want to. I sure don't want to punish them. I guess just have a discussion when we on those.
Yes,
You
sir.
don't think they're putting sure, I see what you're saying, taking the residential there, but you don't think they're putting their, business garbage right there with it too?
Well,
You gotta do something with it.
most of them have dumpsters that cost a lot of
I
money.
know.
Most of them.
Yeah, not all of them, right?
Yeah, but if you had a dumpster, why would you put your garbage in the dumpster?
They do.
That's what I'm saying, instead of you putting it at the road.
I think if y'all will trust us to try to focus and major on the obvious,
Right.
the obvious situation, Steve, as opposed to those that appear to have a mixture of the two. Let us focus on the ones that are obvious.
If they're paying for their garbage to be picked up at their house, and they have a business 5 miles down the road, and say they do have a dumpster, and they're taking their garbage to the dumpster or whatever at times. So sometimes they're putting it on the road, and whether it's got some toilet paper roll or whatever from that office in there, they're paying.
I don't think any of us wants to be as that detailed. I'm certainly not going to volunteer to go through somebody's trash.
No.
But the thing is,
I have done it.
don't,
Find anything good?
Addresses, and
Yeah.
their bills.
Well, I go back to the house count being a critical component to this,
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
a lot of this is going to get weeded out. A
Yeah.
lot of this is going to get weeded out when we get into the house count in full bore, okay?
All right.
Any other questions about the terms at this point? I would just need a motion if y'all are prepared.
I make a motion to approve.
So motion by Mr. Bishop to
Second.
approve, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item C passes.
Very good. We'll make sure that the minutes reflect that what you've just done, the authorization you've just given, is contingent upon the revision of the proposed terms to be satisfactory to myself and to Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Slay. Item 5, Mr. Hicks, good morning.
Good morning. Item A is authority for us to issue checks for the annual 2021 tax levy allocation of funds for each fire department, contingent upon receipt of the financials and run reports. We're going to be using last year's data to allocate the funds until the new data comes in. Because of the census this year, that information's been delayed.
Okay. The board wishes to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Calhoun, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item A passes. Item B, Mr. Hicks.
Can I interject quickly?
Yes, sir.
Daniel?
Absolutely.
If y'all don't mind, let me stress that contingent upon receipt of run reports and financial information, we will invariably have some pushback on that. So I want you guys to understand that they will not be receiving the funding until those documents have
Well,
been provided.
And part of that funding to go back is by statute saying they have
Yes,
to
sir.
report those things.
That's
So
correct.
It's not
Thank
just the
you.
county coming back saying it.
Right.
Under
Right.
statute, they
Right.
have to come back and report
Right.
those
So
items. So-
when you get, not if, when you get those phone calls, just please understand that we're trying to make sure that they get compliant, okay?
Correct. Yep. So item B, Mr. Hicks.
All right, thank you. Authority to transfer funds from the constable fund, which will be going away. We won't be using that fund any longer, to the general county fund in the amount of $940,070.33.
We're not doing away with constables, just the
No,
fund, huh?
just the fund. We actually haven't been using it, and this money's been sitting out there for a while, so we're cleaning it out. And
All right. Mr.
I
Slade?
will be able to help walk through that situation in executive since it is personnel.
Okay.
All right, board wish to entertain a
Motion approved.
motion by Mr. Bishop to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item B passes. Item C, Mr.
All right.
Hicks.
This is approval of a request from the Richland Exchange Club. Being in the end of the year, we didn't have a docket to run this, so this is the recreational funds in the amount of $2470.26 for the Richland Exchange Club in District 1.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item C passes. Item D, Mr.
All right,
Hicks.
item D is ratification of approval to apply for the Solid Waste Assistant Grant and Household Hazardous Waste Grant.
All right.
Motion approved.
So motion to approve by Mr. Calhoun.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item D passes. Item E.
All right, our end of the year items, authority to amend the 2021 budget as of today to reflect actual receipts and expenditures for the fiscal year.
All right.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Gaines.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with like sign. Item E passes. Item F, Mr. Hicks.
Item F is the inventory approval for fiscal year 2021 and the annual disposition of the assets report.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve by Mr. Bishop.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calhoun. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item F passes. Item G, Mr.
All
Hicks.
And item G is the approval of our year-end claims docket in the amount of $3,283,957.52.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve by Mr. Bishop. Second by myself. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item G passes.
All right.
Item 6, under additional business to be discussed. I don't see anything. Mr. Hicks, you have anything?
Just, you have Monday's agenda. If there's any questions or anything, I'll be
Okay.
happy to entertain.
Mr. Slay, you got anything?
Not under additional, no, sir. I've got
Alright.
we've got a couple matters.
So nothing else under additional business then? Nothing else under additional business? Last time?
Wait a minute,
So-
let me ask you something. I got something, I don't know what we need to talk about now. It's just a thought that, something had come up about a possible site for the sheriff shooting facility.
Okay.
Something we need to talk about now, or?
Yes, sir. Well,
Okay.
it's this property that's gonna have to be acquired?
Not really.
Is the county gonna have to buy it? Is the county gonna have to lease it?
Yeah.
All right, so that's executive
Okay,
session.
okay.
Okay.
All right, couldn't ask. Okay.
All right, I guess, Mr. Harrison, I think you were raising your hand. I've heard that before. Go ahead.
We have our next round of CMPD money coming about. I'll get Tim to come up here and we'll talk about it in just a second, but we got a little project that we'd like to submit to it. We're kind of on a time crunch of this thing, so we have to have it submitted by October 27th. We need to get approval, but we was gonna put Old Fannin Road. We think it'll qualify in a pavement deal. We just wanted to get the board's take on what they thought about it.
Tim?
So we've got the CMPDD rounds of monies this time. It's got pavement management, safety, a little bit of money for bridge and congestion. And Mike and I've looked at we don't have anything right now that has a traffic study that's warranting a traffic signal in the safety department. Bridges is not really enough money to do much with the bridge, and we've got bridge projects ongoing, and we couldn't use the key contract to do those under the CMPDD process, because it'd be an LPA project. All these projects would go through the MDOT LPA process. And so it seems like we've had luck with overlay projects, and Old Fannin is the next big overlay that's coming in the county, and it's a 5-lane, so that's you're probably talking about, well, you are talking about a $2 million construction budget. So it's a considerable project, and we feel like that it qualifies. Flowwood did the end down by Highway 25 and then the last round of funding, and it qualified. So we feel good about that.
Do we know if they put any additional match to it?
I don't know if they did. I can find out, and we don't have to know an answer to anything like that today, Jay. I would expect that we would anticipate needing the board to take action at the 15th meeting on any match, because we'd have to have a resolution at that point. Right. And certainly we'll have some more solid figures on the estimated construction cost and what the 80-20 match would be. And obviously, if you match more, you get more points.
But if we don't have to, that'd be good too.
Absolutely. The pavement management is really, it's not a lot of criteria in there. I think it's just 3 basic criteria. One of them is an index that's calculated by CMPDD, and then the match, and I don't remember exactly what the other one is, but.
So get $2 million worth for 200,000. Not bad.
Possible.
Well, you'd have to match 20%. You'd have to match 20%.
Oh, 20.
Yes, sir.
Well,
But still, I mean, you're getting $2 million.
400.
Yeah.
All right.
So that,
Jay, we
I make
gotta
most-
figure out where's Flowwood's north line. I mean.
I'd say we go wherever they stopped.
Well,
yeah,
it's
and
interesting. We gotta figure that out.
and we're working the details of that out. I talked to CMPDD yesterday, and they were going to do a little help us out to see if they could find out that they know where Flowwood stopped the last time, and if that has been the recognized line, whether it is or not, we possibly could go to that line,
Yeah.
or potentially have some type of interlocal with Flowwood to do it. All those details need to be worked out, and none of that has to be worked out today. Mike and I were just kind of asking for some direction to proceed forward, because at the 15th meeting, we're going to need to do resolutions to get them and really have the application, which is somewhat of a lengthy process, have those ready to be submitted by the 27th.
How much is the whole MPO fund this time?
You got 9 in payment maintenance. You got, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I got them right here. Let's see.
So really, we don't even have anything to even put in but just pavement management. We don't have any new construction.
We don't have enough time to do a traffic signal study to see if it would qualify, Jay.
Yeah.
And actually, we were reaching out to y'all to see if you had anything else that we didn't think about. We just kind of started.
We still have time to put an application together, certainly. We're not out of time on it. It just,
When does it need to be put in?
15 or 27.
the 27th is the deadline. At the 15th meeting, which I think, we're meeting on the 15th, that's a Friday. Yeah, we would need the resolutions saying that the board's agreeing to the matching funds. So we would have to have everything nailed down by then, so. But congestion is 7 million, safety improvements is 5.5, bridge is 3 million, and small municipals, which is under 5,000 there, it's $1 million there. So pavement management is the largest.
Large chunk.
Yes, sir. And like I said, we can't guarantee it makes it. We don't know what else is going to apply, but in the last application process, it did. So
Yeah.
same road.
All right. Board wishes to add it to the agenda?
I don't know that we
There's
really.
not about today.
I don't know that we.
Yeah,
I don't think we really
no
need any
action
action
taken
today.
whatsoever.
No,
You're
but
just talking about
if
it.
you
So
do think
15th
something
when you're
else,
talking about action.
right?
All
Yes, sir.
Y'all mull it over. If you think of other potential qualifying projects, please report them as quickly as you can.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else under additional business? Mr. Slay, the executive session is personnel and litigation.
We've got litigation, we've got acquisition of real property.
All right, so multiple things for executive session. So a motion for that?
Make a motion, discuss need for executive session.
Motion for the need for Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? And then
What is it?
Make a motion now.
he said
Make
litigation,
motion, litigation.
personnel, and acquisition of
On
property.
that too. All right.
So motion by Mr. Bishop again, second by Mr. Gaines. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Executive session. So if we would, clear the room. Thank you.